Hey everyone, it's Caitlin and welcome to another video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make the best hummus ever. I think most of us are fans of hummus, and before I started making my own hummus, I would buy it from the grocery store all the time and it was my jam. I mean, I use it in so many different things, but I actually made a trip to Israel about a year ago. I filmed some YouTube videos about that on my channel if you want to check them out. And while I was there, I ate a lot of hummus, and I also learned that Americans don't really use hummus in the way that we should. And I also learned that if you make your own hummus from scratch, it is approximately 10,002 times better. It is smoother, creamy. Grocery store hummus tends to get like really thick and gelatinous, but if you have freshly made hummus, it is like silky smooth, delicious. And the best thing about hummus is that it is super budget friendly and you only need very few ingredients to make it. Literally just chickpeas, lemon, garlic, tahini, and salt. Tahini is probably the hardest thing to get, but you can get that at most grocery stores now or even purchase it online. I get all of mine online, but we'll talk a little bit more about that later. So this video is going to be a demo. I'm going to show you all my tips and tricks for making your own hummus at home. It does take a little bit of time, but I promise it is so worth it. But if you do prefer overhead recipe style videos, I have already filmed a video on how to make hummus in that format. I will link it right here if you prefer to follow along that way, or if you just want to read through the instructions. The full blog post that is already on my blog will be linked down below, so you can print it, save it for later, save it to your Pinterest page. You got lots of options, people, but today let's just move on to making our hummus. So the base of hummus is chickpeas. I don't care what any grocery store random hummus tub that is made from a different bean is trying to tell you. That's not hummus. That's a black bean spread or edamame spread. It has to have chickpeas and has to have tahini. There's no such thing as fat-free hummus either. Anyways, pet peas aside, I like to buy my beans in bulk and use dry beans, and I do actually recommend using dry beans for this recipe, not canned beans, because when you soak the beans and the way you cook them in this recipe, it allows them to absorb more water, and the water content is actually going to directly contribute to the silkiness of our hummus. If you buy canned beans from the grocery store, it just won't process down to be as smooth. You need about 2 cups of dried chickpeas for this recipe. I soaked mine overnight in water. I would put them in a wider bowl. Don't put them in a jar because they'll get stuck in the jar. And make sure you cover it with a lot of water because they almost double in size, maybe even triple. So just make sure you got that. And as you can see, or maybe you can't see, but the water is kind of murky. So you want to soak your beans for about 12 to 24 hours, and then you're going to drain them and rinse them in the sink just to get all of that weird murky liquid off. So once you have drained and rinsed your chickpeas, we are going to cook them. You can cook them on the stovetop, but cooking dried beans on the stovetop does take a long time. So I like to make things easier and use my Instant Pot, which is an electronic pressure cooker. If you have a stovetop pressure cooker, you could definitely use that as well. But when you soak chickpeas overnight, they only take 8 to 12 minutes to fully cook in the Instant Pot, which is so much faster than cooking them on the stove. So you're going to add your beans into your Instant Pot. And then I personally like to make garlic hummus. So I like to use garlic cloves, but the thing is, fresh garlic definitely doesn't taste as good as roasted garlic. If you have roasted garlic in hand on your fridge, you could definitely use that later in the recipe, but I usually don't. So I actually cook my garlic with the beans. It infuses the garlic flavor into the beans, and it makes the garlic flavor less intense, especially if you don't like raw garlic. So you're going to add about 3 to 5 cloves of garlic, depending how garlicky you like it. I'm a garlic fiend, so I usually add 5 large cloves of garlic. And then our last final hack for Instant Pot is that later on, we're going to have to peel all of these chickpeas. I know it sounds like a pain, but it is crucial to silky smooth hummus. We're going to make it easier by adding a teaspoon of baking soda into our Instant Pot. And it doesn't add any flavor to the hummus at the end, but the baking soda helps the skins of the chickpeas, which if you didn't know, chickpeas have skins, to come off more easily after they've been cooked. So once we have all of our ingredients in this pot, we're going to fill it with water until about 2 to 3 inches of water are standing above the chickpeas. It just allows them to cook fully without anything funky going on in the Instant Pot. And then we're going to seal it and cook it for 8 to 12 minutes, depending on your pot. So if you have a newer pot, I would do like 8 minutes because I think the seal is better. So I'm gonna seal this up, and I'll see you guys in 8 to 10 minutes plus the time it takes for the Instant Pot to come to pressure. So after your chickpeas finish cooking, you're going to release the valve on your Instant Pot, carefully let the pressure release, and then drain them and carefully rinse them again just to get any extra liquid off. So now I have my drained chickpeas here, and like I mentioned earlier, now we're going to peel the chickpeas. You don't have to peel the chickpeas, but I highly recommend you do. It does make a difference. The hummus is so smooth in Israel and other areas in the Middle East because they actually have a different type of chickpea and the skin is thinner. But the chickpeas that we have in America, the skin is a lot thicker and it makes chunkier hummus. So the baking soda definitely helps to loosen the skins off the chickpeas, and all you really have to do is pick the bean up and pinch it with your fingers and the skin slides right off. Basically, you're just gonna do this with all the beans. If you put some good tunes on, let's do a podcast or whatever, it takes about like 15-20 minutes max. And also you're going to come across cooked cloves of garlic. I can see one right here. And you can just go ahead and plop those in with the peeled beans because we're just going to be blending that all together in the next step. I had a little dance party and I peeled my chickpeas, and now it's time to blend our hummus. So you do want to make hummus in a food processor. This does work better than a blender because the way the blade is shaped, it just aerates the hummus more and makes it more smooth and silky. If you don't have a food processor, you could use a blender. I'm just trying to help you guys get the best hummus ever, okay? So we got our chickpeas. They don't have to be perfectly peeled. You can just do it for as long as you want and then, you know, sort of give up from there. Maybe I did that today, maybe I didn't. But you're going to add them to your food processor along with the garlic, which we just threw in there when we peeled the chickpeas. And now we're going to seal the lid on this. And we're going to first form a chickpea puree. So while the chickpeas are running in the food processor, we're going to add our lemon juice and our salt to the food processor. And I like to dissolve most of my salt in the lemon juice first. And you're going to slowly pour this into your food processor while it's running. And this helps to make a puree and just helps it get more incorporated. I'm just explaining now before it starts running because it's gonna be pretty noisy. So then now you have a thick chickpea puree that actually kind of has the consistency of grocery store hummus in my opinion. So we're going to add in our final 2 ingredients, one of which is tahini, because you need tahini to make hummus, remember guys, and the other one is ice cold water. And it is important to use ice cold water because this reacts with the tahini and sort of helps it to become thicker and more like emulsified. So as the hummus is blending, it becomes so much fluffier and smoother and creamier. So you can stick some water in the freezer while you're peeling your chickpeas. I did that, but then I also put some ice cubes in it because you do want the water to be as cold as possible. So this is also now kind of open to your own interpretation. You can add however much tahini and however much water you would like. For tahini, I would suggest using 1/4 of a cup to 3/4 of a cup, maybe even more if you like it super, super creamy. I personally use 3/4 of a cup. And the tahini that you use does matter. It should be nice and silky, like runny. As soon as you open the jar, you shouldn't have to stir it. It shouldn't be super, super thick. I really like this brand by Soom Foods. I will link it down below if you guys are curious. And then for the water as well, I typically use around 1/3 cup of water, but if you want your hummus to be thicker or thinner, you could use more or less according to personal preference. And then before we blend this all up, actually, the last final hack is to let your food processor run for 5 minutes. Just set a timer on your phone, you're good to go, but this really helps to get the fluffiest, creamiest, dreamiest hummus ever imaginable. It's been 5 minutes, so it's time to unveil the glory of this amazing, silky, smooth hummus that is like, oh my gosh, guys. It's just, I can't even begin to describe it. It's so much creamier and smoother, and I could just lather it on anything, eat it straight up as a meal. I mean, people do that. So this recipe is in and of itself oil-free, but when it comes to plating it, you do typically top it with olive oil. But it's interesting because you don't actually need oil at all in order to make the hummus creamy. So when it comes to plating it, we're just gonna take a big dollop of our hummus out and just plop a lot of it onto a plate. It would help to have a bigger spatula, but you know, I just got this baby one. And then once you have it on your plate, you're just going to use the spatula to sort of swirl and smooth it around, and then you can top it with whatever you like. But that's it, guys. You now have creamy, dreamy, delicious hummus that you can serve and use however you like. As you can see, this makes a pretty giant batch of hummus, and that makes me very happy because I could literally just eat straight up hummus with a spoon. However, in the next video that I'm going to publish on my channel, I am going to show you guys what to do if you do happen to have leftover hummus and you're not as much of a hummus fiend like me. So I'm going to show you 5 different ways to use leftover hummus. So if you're watching this video later than its published date, it will be linked below. But if not, you can stay tuned until the next time I post a video and you will see it then. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to do more demos like this or if you have any recipe suggestions for demos. I am going to continue to do a mixture of overhead videos and demos in the future just because that's what works best for me in terms of sustainability for my channel. But I like to hear your feedback as well as to which ones you prefer for what. If you're new to my channel and you like what you see here, feel free to hit that little subscribe button right down there. I post 1 to 2 new videos every single week, and it'd be cool to have you join in on the fun. You guys can also leave a comment below. Ooh, leave a comment below, tell me your favorite way to eat hummus. But I think that's it for now. I'm gonna go dig in and eat some hummus, and I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, whatever time of day it is for you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.